Okay, very good. Thank you. We are recalling the regular meeting of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education for Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. We have resumed our meeting from executive session. May the record reflect that all board members are present except for Mr. Tom Donnelly. And we will now go to the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks everyone. Student report. Hello, Talijah.
Hi, everybody. I just came from tryouts, actually, so that's why I have this on. Not my usual attire, but, you know. I'm a little under the weather, so sorry if I sound a little whack or anything. But, yeah, there's not a lot going on, but there are some pretty important things going on, with that being said. Today, Suffern High School hosted the speech and debate tournament today, and we had 2 students finish in the top 3 of their categories, so that's really good. Winter sports, speaking of winter sports started this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are the normal tryout dates for a whole bunch of sports that are in the winter. Example, basketball, as far as came from, you know, it's really going really good. We have a lot of, speaking of girls basketball, we have a lot of girls trying out. We have 32 girls trying out, which compared to last year is like a little bit like more than like half. It's a great turnout. I'm really, really excited. And we might have enough for a freshman team, which we haven't had in a minute. So that's so exciting. Our spring musical reveal will be this Thursday at unit lunch. Throughout the past couple of weeks, the musical Instagram account has been giving out hints about what the musical is going to be. So there's so many people guessing what it can be. I have no guesses because I never understand what the hints are, but I'm super excited. I go to the play reveal every single year, so I'm so excited to see what it's going to be this year. We have our first NCAA signing on Thursday for this week for seniors who are committed to a college or university to play a sport at any level. So that should be really exciting for those students that are going to be able to have the opportunity and, you know, starting with their family and friends. And I'm going to be going to support my friends as well. And also a huge shout out to our music department for hosting the area All-State this weekend at Suffern High School. There are 450 students from 42 high schools practicing in symphony orchestra, band, mixed choir, and treble choir. So that is a great accomplishment for students, not only in Suffern, but high school students everywhere that are interested in music. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Talijah. Really great to hear all the wonderful things are happening, and we hope you feel better soon. All right, next item is the minutes of the regular meeting of November 5th, 2024. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? Yes, very good. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. Second?
Second.
Mr. Kern, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, very good. Superintendent's comments.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn my superintendent comments over very quickly to Dr. Paul Adler. Dr. Paul Adler is our principal at the high school, and he has been busy with his team at the high school really on several initiatives, and I asked him to come here to the board meeting to share with us a couple of the highlights of the work that's been taking place at the high school under Dr. Adler's leadership. So Dr. Adler, if you'd like to come on up and share with the Board of Education some of the work that's been going on, particularly surrounding the portrait of our graduate. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Gunderson.
Thank you, Dr. Gunderson, members of the board, district staff, and the public here today, and our students here today. It's great to see you. I wanted to give you a little bit of a window into what's happening at the high school and what we're really focused on this year. So last year when I came in, I was getting to learn the community, but one thing I asked us to do is to continually center ourselves in the mission. And the mission the high school is posted here. I asked to do this with students and staff, and it states simply that the mission of our school is to graduate confident, caring students committed to achieving their full intellectual, social, and creative potential, and to maintaining an active interest in their own personal wellness. It's a mouthful, but we really focused on what does it mean for students to commit to their full potential. And we really drove towards that, really trying to encourage students, creating a sense of belonging and doing your best. But we realized that this wasn't necessarily that clear. What exactly does it mean for a Suffern High student to reach their full potential? What does that look like? So we formed an instructional vision committee. And as we went through the year, we kept looking at schools that we really admired, and many of them had developed what's called a portrait of a graduate, which is quite simply a list of competencies, skills, knowledge that our students, we hope that they graduate with. And so over this past summer, I had the pleasure of working with families, parents, students, and staff to create that vision. And the vision looks something like this, okay, which is our portrait of a graduate that we adopted. You'll notice 5 competencies. And I gave you some handouts. So nearby one of your seats, you'll see the handouts. And in the handouts, it'll list what it really looks like, right, under each competency. But rather than just looking at words on a page, I thought what would make this come alive even more, and I've done this with our staff too, is really look at who's leading this, which is our students. Our students are already exhibiting this and inspiring us and showing what it means to embody each of these. So what I'm going to do tonight is give you a window into our school by showing some visuals. We're going to do a little interactive game, so bear with me. I did this with our staff. You have these cards. So underneath the top page, you have a card for each competency. And as I show the pictures, I'd love for you to hold up the card that you think it represents. I'm going to show you 4 pictures that feature our students' accomplishments and endeavors this past year. And as you look at the descriptions and are ready, if you just hold up for me a card that you think really represents these pictures. Don't worry, this is not a test. This is just us getting familiar with things. Okay, I'm seeing some gray for communicator and collaborator. I'm seeing critical thinker and problem solver. All right. So if you held up critical thinker and problem solver, that's correct. Okay, and I'm going to explain why. So we have a lot of problem solving going on. And I'm going to zoom in on one picture. This actually happened this week. So these 9th grade students in their earth science class presented on a project where they were assigned a rescue in our nearby Harriman State Park. They literally had to think about, how am I going to rescue 3 stranded hikers in a matter of 3 hours to ensure their survival? And what was really cool is the amount of science they had to use. They had to calculate gradients of the trail. They had to read a topological map. They had to think about differences in elevation. And when I asked these students what they learned from this project, they said, we didn't realize how much the tiniest details, such as longitude, latitude, all these things would make the difference between whether these hikers would survive or not. And so when we think about our portrait of a graduate in critical thinking, I was just so excited to hear that this isn't just because they're taking a paper test at the end of their unit. They actually have something they can use in their real life to solve a problem. Okay, so this is really an embodiment of critical thinkers. All right, the next pictures. Think about this one and which competency in our portrait you would hold up for this. Seeing some grays, some light blues. Yes, if you held up community contributor, that would be the one to describe this. You got it, Daryl. So I want to zoom in on this one. It's a little blurry, but this is our Deaf Awareness Club. And they noticed a gap in our community. They noticed that we did not have signage in cases of emergency in ASL. And so students who had either difficulty hearing or were deaf would not be able to identify how to get out of the building. And so this signage now allows us, and we have a lot of students who know ASL, who can now direct other students on where to go and what to do. So I thought there was just an incredible amount of thought that went into this to look for and identify a problem in our community and try to solve it. So that really embodies our community contributors. Okay, the next one. This one's a little tough. All right. Yeah. So if you held up the gray one, yeah, these are communicating. This is communicator and collaborator. So you'll see a lot of collaborations in these photos, and I want to zoom in on this one. Every winter we do an AVID college fair. AVID is our college going course for students who are, really want exposure to college and the skills that it takes to get there. And they research colleges, and then they present to our students in the hallways. They set up booths in the hallways, and share more with our underclassmen about what does it mean to go to this college? What is it like? What's the population? What type of majors do they really, really excel at? And as we know, for high school students, they learn best from each other, right? We can say you should check out Florida State, but when a friend or a peer does it, it's way more powerful. So this is an incredible amount of collaboration between our students to help them realize, hey, I could see myself at this college. All right. Next one. This is a tough one too. All right. So this is the dark blue, resilient, adaptable individual. And I want to zoom in on this. This is our homework club. This is a place where two things happen. One, students voluntarily come to work on their homework after school. They are giving up their social time, their activity time to say, hey, I need to prioritize some support. I need help. And for them to do that shows a great deal of self-awareness and resilience, that they're not letting their grades sit where they are. They really want that help. And this year, we're really focused on 9th grade science and math, which was a real struggle last year. And what's so powerful is this is a young man named Jacob here. He's part of our Math Honor Society. He's tutoring other students in 9th grade math. So now we have peer tutors who want to come and help. Many of them are bilingual, so are helping our students who just need access to someone who can help them. And as I said earlier, with the Avid College Fair, who do students learn best from? Other students, right? So it's really incredible. Anytime you want to come by after school, I'll walk you through here because it's just so powerful to see the number of kids who are saying, you know what, I need help. And that to me shows a lot of courage and resilience. And it's something I'm trying to work with my daughter on at home too. So, all right. And then finally, we're left with this one, which is another powerful one. So you can hold up the final card. Yep. So these are our creators and explorers. When I first came to Suffern High, so the musical Into the Woods from last spring, I remember asking Dan McCarter, so where do we order our sets from? Like, we must order it from a company. He said, we build them. So what are you talking about? You build them. They look professionally done. And so that was my aha. So, okay, Suffern is different level with this stuff, right? Creating, being that creative and having a vision and then having students actually build it. Bill, you're part of stage crew and lighting, right? Tech, sorry. And so Bill here is integral member of almost every single thing we put on. So talk about being creative, right? And the last play, the fall play was actually, it was set right in the pit, right? So the lighting had to completely change for that. So in terms of creating and exploring, we see that all over our school. I'm zooming in on one of our Avid courses. I keep mentioning it's such a powerful course. And these are students actually creating vision boards for their future. So when we think about exploring, the first step, right, is to think about what is my vision for myself? Where do I want to be in 4 years and 8 years? And you can see the amount of fun they're having, their smiles on their faces, and they're really trying to think about how would I represent myself on a vision board? And we do this with 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. We keep coming back to it for a vision of their future selves. So all these things round out to make our portrait of a graduate. And I wanted to spend the time tonight just so you could familiarize yourself with it. I do want to say we also have clear goals around this too that we've worked on. So the first month was a lot about being a community contributor. What does it mean to be part of this community? And we've now shifted to this, and to be a communicator and collaborator, what does that mean? The first thing we wanted to do this year is reduce distractions. I know you heard of how we've been strategic about cell phones this year. That was not an exercise in power. That was not, oh, we need to take your phones away. If we want to do that, that'd be a bigger battle, right? We really wanted to couch it in how can we maximize our class time? How can we connect with each other, okay? Our goal is not to be cell phone police. That's not our goal. But it's simply to say, how can we improve the classroom experience? So we ask students to check them in on their way into class. We're not taking them away all day. That's not our goal. That's not a long-term goal. We just want to make sure class time is productive and not distracted. And we, begrudgingly, a lot of students have said, I've kind of been a little more focused in class this year, which is not surprising. I get distracted by cell phones too, okay? We wanted to increase the amount of class discussion, Socratic seminar, and debate. We have a lot of teachers who are now pushing the envelope with that in a good way. And we want to increase the amount of cooperative teamwork in the room. The desired outcomes is we really increase our sense of belonging. We had, in my opinion, way too low a score on this in our panorama survey. Granted, it was our first time taking it, and we actually averaged okay nationally, but 48% is really low for a sense of belonging. We want to dramatically increase that. So that's one goal about having collaborators, is feeling a sense of belonging and increasing our attendance. Because in high school, it's different than elementary school. A lot of students will vote with their feet. and come to school when they feel like they belong, right? We also want to keep pushing on this critical thinker and problem solver. You saw a lot of pictures in there. We want to increase rigor in Regents classrooms. Rigor should not just be reserved for AP classrooms. And we are pushing on that, especially in, again, 9th grade math and 9th grade biology. We want to keep coming back to this question: who's making the meaning in the room? It's not very exciting if the teacher's making all the meaning for you, right? But if you're doing it, it means a heck of a lot more. So that's a focus of our classroom walkthroughs. And our desired outcome is to increase our performance in Regents, right, in algebra and bio, but also to increase AP access and scores, okay? Who's taking APs, right? How many students, from what demographic background, and how are our scores? And some really encouraging news from last year, I'm going to end with this, because I want you to take a look at this. This is a bar graph of the percentage of kids with a 3 or above on exams, okay? And the circled ones is a little hard to see. But if you look going from 2020 to 2024, we have never had more total AP students. We have never had more kids take exams. We have 764 exams compared to 561. We've never had a higher percentage of students with a 3+. So this goes against the whole notion that, well, if you let more kids in, it's going to water it down. No, right? You can both increase access and success at the same time, okay? And this exposes kids to more of the critical thinking we're talking about in our Portrait of a Graduate. So we're really encouraged by this, and we want to keep pushing, right? We want more and more kids exposed to AP, and the research shows even taking one AP class increases your persistence and success in college. So that's where we're going. That's one measure. It's not the only thing, but I just wanted to share some really good news from last year. And it goes, again, back to our mission. What does it mean to achieve our full potential? We're hoping this Portrait of a Graduate really gets us there. And I really appreciate your time tonight and just seeing all the great things kids are doing. If you ever want to take a visit, please let me know. We'd love to have you come and see what we're doing, and you get to see it, in action. So that's it.
Dr. Adler, I want to thank you so much for really painting a picture of what the work is all about at Suffern High School. I think that the work on the Portrait of the Graduate is certainly not just a fancy graphic, but your presentation today really focused in on the meaning of what it is to have a Portrait of a Graduate. Kudos to you and your entire team for the work that you're doing, and we look forward to having you back sometime soon to share even more examples of how students are thriving at the high school. Although this is the superintendent comment period, I'm going to conclude my comments. I don't know if there's any board members that have questions for Dr. Adler or comments, but those are all my comments.
Yes, go ahead.
I would just like to thank Dr. Adler for coming in. It's very exciting, and at some point I'll get over to the school and see it in action. So keep up the good work. I'm very proud of our students over at the high school, with you leading them as well.
Any other comments from the board? Questions? No? Thank you so much, Dr. Adler. That was an excellent presentation, and I really appreciate you bringing in the photos and the visuals as well. It really shows us in how many different aspects you're executing all of these important practices, and how many different ways students are being encouraged to express themselves and find ways to succeed. So thank you. Okay, and thank you. Now we are moving on to our first public participation section. This is on action items only. Action items are on our agenda tonight, 2.01 through 2.13. Is there anyone here from the public who's here to speak just on an action item? Okay, seeing as there are none, we will close that portion of the meeting. And prior to asking for a consent agenda, are there any items that any board member would like to pull? No. Okay. In that case, we're going to move on to our action items. I would request a motion for a consent agenda for items 2.01 through 2.13. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Hodge. Second? Mr. Frazier. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, very good. Then we're going to move on to board member comments. Do any board members have any comments tonight?
It's it's me again. I would just like to bring your attention to an article that was in the Rockland Times. If you didn't get a chance to see it, take a look. It was on the front page on Friday, November 15th, and it speaks about Suffern High School implements innovative cybersecurity class. The article mentions the teacher, Ms. Ariel Sanzo, and the great work she's doing. It also mentions Assistant Principal James Douglas with some quotes, and it just goes to what Dr. Adler was just showing us, the great things that are happening at our high school. I think Dr. Gunderson came in and informed us that he was a part of the Innovative Schools, and Innovative Schools is responsible for having this program brought into 11 schools within this district. So I want to thank Suffern High School and the leadership team there and the teachers there and students for getting involved. It's a bright future ahead of them. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Gunderson again for your leadership in bringing this program to our high school.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Frazier. Any other comments tonight? No. Okay, very good. Okay, then we're going to move on to our second public participation section. This is on any district-related business. If anyone is here to speak in our this section, please keep your remarks to 3 minutes. Please do not mention anyone in the district by name, whether a student, teacher, staff, anything like that. All your remarks should be directed to the board, and please give us your name before you begin speaking. Is there anyone who's here to speak? No? Okay. Then I'm going to close that part of the meeting, and we're going to move on to the closing comments of the superintendent.
Thank you so much. I would like to acknowledge that we have our grades 3 through 5 after school program that launched last week. I'd like to thank Ms. Weber for the work that she and her team have done to bring this newly revised program to fruition here in Suffern Central. One of the things that we had talked about with regards to the elementary school restructuring was that we would be able to continue the after school program by the sheer fact that we have 2 grade 3 through 5 buildings, and we've been able to do that. So that program is up and running and is so far been met with very positive reviews from our students. We are all looking forward to the big reveal tomorrow at Suffern High School. I know that I will be there to see what this year's musical is going to be. Looking forward to that for sure. And then finally, I'd like to wish the board and the entire community a very happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is next week, and it really provides all of us with an opportunity to be thankful for what we have and for the bright future that lies ahead for us here in Suffern Central. And this concludes my superintendent reports.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, yes, good things happening. Thanksgiving break. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrates. Happy 4-day weekend to everyone who doesn't. And also, I'd like to congratulate our board member, Daryl Frazier, for being elected mayor of Sloatsburg. Really wonderful to see all the public service that's brought by members of this community, not just everyone on the board, but everyone else who holds a position in their village or in their town. And our next meeting will be Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. Wow, almost done. Okay, thanks everyone for being here. We'll be right back here in Hilburn at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, December 3rd. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
No.
Mr. Kern, second? Mr. Shapiro, all in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Thank you.
Start.